Hi everyone, Karim here for part 3 of the first time homebuyer series here, going over what do you call this here? Negotiation and due diligence. I'll start right away here to save you some time. Again. So the first person here is a realtor, and their job is to negotiate the best deal on your behalf when it comes time for negotiation here. Um, Oftentimes this means that if we're the only person offering, there is most likely opportunity to pay under the asking price. Your job here is to negotiate without emotion again. So if you know what the home is worth, you know what you can comfortably afford, it's important for you to make a plan again and stick to it. So you're not going to offer far beyond that. You'll make sure that you're um, you know doing it without emotion. Of course, having a good realtor on your side who is working in your best interest will help you do that. A realtor will remind you of your goals, remind you of your budget, remind you of what the home should be selling for to make sure you're negotiating in fairness here. And the lender's job is to obtain financing once the offer is accepted. So if you're using condition of financing, whether you're using condition of financing or not, if you're using a lender, your lender will work to make sure that they're obtaining financing for you. If an appraisal needs to be done, that'll be done, and that everything is going smoothly in that front. And this lady here is the lender, the lawyer. If you are buying, whether you're buying a condo or a freehold, you will need a lawyer to buy a home in Ontario. Unlike Quebec, you cannot use a notary here. But if you're buying a condo, you might use a lawyer before having an offer accepted, as you could use a lawyer to review status certificate documents before submitting an offer for a condo. So the lawyer here in Ontario, you need one. It's part of your closing costs. So for total closing costs, I'd say budget about 2% of purchase price. Lawyer is required. You might not need your lawyer until the closing stage. So if you're buying a freehold property, a lawyer will not necessarily be of very big use to you. So you might want to save yourself a bit of money and wait until the deal is firm before hiring a lawyer. And lawyers will communicate between each other. So if you're working with a lawyer, your lawyer will talk to the seller's lawyer to make sure that everything is going smoothly, that things are being done on time. So once you have an accepted offer here, say if we have conditions, you might need a home inspector. And a home inspector will cost you $500 to $600 plus HST. Usually it's about $500 for the average sized home. You get a 3-hour long inspection with that home inspector usually, and your realtor will be there, or at least should be there, and you will get a report at the end of it detailing everything they have inspected and whether that thing was in acceptable condition or in bad condition. And if you don't know a home inspector you like and trust, of course, ask your realtor, ask around, ask your family. We can certainly recommend specialists, and the home inspector himself will also be able to recommend other specialists if needed. So perhaps oftentimes home inspectors are generalists and they know a bit of everything, or a lot of everything rather. But if they see a flat roof that is not in good shape, they might suggest you hire a specialist for that. Or if you're hiring a home inspector that is not a civil engineer, if they see structural problems with the home, they will probably recommend you hire a civil engineer to come look at that house and give you their opinion on whether that home is structurally sound or not. Otherwise, you might also need specialists for well and septic. So if you are buying a home out in the boonies, especially if you're a first-time home buyer with usually a smaller budget, you might be buying a home out of the city. And that home will possibly, and if it is out of the city, actually, it will most likely not be connected to municipal water and sewer. So this means that it will have its own well, its own septic system. So you will probably want to have specialists of wells and septic systems have a look at these for you to make sure that they're in good shape. Wells can cost over $100,000 to replace, and septics oftentimes cost between $30,000 and $50,000 to replace. So these are very big ticket items. You want to make sure you're in great shape as you're buying. Otherwise, you might need some more specialists for a roof, as I said. If it's, say, a flat roof or even a regular roof, you might want a roof specialist to tell you what they think about the state of the roof. Foundation specialists, sometimes you just want a painter to go through the home and tell you what they think it will cost to paint it. Likewise, with contractors, if you're planning to renovate the house, it might be a great idea to have a contractor walk through it to actually get you a quote of what to expect in terms of costs to do the planned work before you buy the home. Now, as you're doing your due diligence, as you're having a home inspection, you might run into problems. There are thousands of possible problems that could happen here, but to make this simple, and what I always tell my clients is there are 3 types of problems, really. The first one is an acceptable problem. So perhaps you'll walk through the home during the home inspection, and the inspector will say, oh, I just noticed, the door from the garage to the house is missing a piece that makes sure that the door is closed automatically. You, as the buyer, can decide, oh, that's an acceptable problem. That's really a small problem that I can fix with a bit of time, a little bit of money. So I'm happy buying the home with that problem. Perhaps another buyer will see that problem and say, you know what? I don't want to deal with anything. So my house has to be nearly perfect. That's fine. As a buyer, these problems are all subjectively placed in the types of problems we're going to talk about here. Of course, no home is perfect. Even a brand new home will have deficiencies. So as a buyer, you'll have to kind of accept that. But whether a problem is acceptable to you or not will depend a lot on your experience with homes, how handy you are, and your connections. So who you know who's able to help you with these homes. I've shown a home before during inspection where the home was actually leaning one way, and I thought that was a done deal. But the buyer was actually like, no, I can take care of that. I've lifted homes before and filled the foundation in before. That's no problem. I'm happy buying this home, knowing the home is leaning. That's fine. That was an acceptable problem to him. But to 99% of buyers, that would have been a complete deal breaker. Other types of problems you can run into. The second type is a problem that's renegotiable. A problem that will lead you to renegotiate the current deal. So perhaps as a surprise to you during the inspection, you'll discover that the roof is actually not in as good shape you thought it was. And changing a roof can cost upwards of $15,000 in Ontario, depending on your house, of course, and the type of roof you're using here. But you will want to most likely renegotiate the purchase price you've offered for the home if you didn't take that into consideration in the first offer you've made. So this is a kind of problem that you will, want to go back to the seller and say, hey, this is probably a surprise to you too, but your roof is actually in horrible shape and it'll probably have to be replaced very soon. I cannot afford to buy both the house and replace the roof, so I need you to help me financially here. The third type of problems are problems so big that you will walk away. So for most buyers, that leaning house would have led people to just walk away. Of course, again, it's very subjective, and maybe for you, changing a roof might lead you to want to walk away. Perhaps a foundation crack could lead you to want to walk away. It's all subjective, and an experienced realtor working in your best interest again a respectful realtor, really, I should say, working in your best interest will respect that entirely and will let you make those decisions on your own. And that's it for part number 3. Part number 4 is closing smoothly, and that one will be short, I promise. See you very soon.